What's up, guys? Doofus Mcdooface here. Today I'll be talking about the Legion spells. This is just a simple tier list for all the Legion spells. This is my personal opinion. Uh, so what I think might not be what is the best, but it's usually how I play it the most. So let's just go one by one. I'll put them in S tier, which is the best, A, which is next to best, all the way down to D, which is the worst for this tier list. But by the end, I'll probably switch them around. So I'll sort of start by placing them somewhere, and then I will switch it up based on whatever I feel might have changed up. Like, oh, if I had Magician in A, and then I'm like, well, I feel like Vamp should be in B, then I would move one of them up or down, if they're too similar. So, All Out Assault. I wish it had the text with it, but I can tell you guys that All Out Assault gives you 100 Mythium, and you lose, I think, what is 20 income, right? I mean, I guess I could look it up, but we don't need that. It's okay. It's all right. It's really only good for aggressive stuff. And I think I wanna do this tier list for the best overall, right? Like, how many times can you use this spell? When is it always useful? Are there times where it's better than the aggressive spell? Are there times where it's better than the greedy spell? Like a creditor, venture, things like that, investment. All Out Assault feels like it only works, right, if you're going for that aggressive 11 or 12. For that reason, I'm going C. I don't think it's that great of a king spell. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong. But when you have like counterattack, when you have PTA, these are king spells that don't really harm you as much as like that 20 income loss. That income loss is actually pretty heavy, especially if you don't send instantly, right? And then imagine your cartel. Like, I don't know how many games have been cartel, and we go for AOA on 11, and it's like, oh man, we are all in right here. This is an all in play. So if it doesn't work, you're hurting. So for that reason, I'm gonna go C. Allowance. I mean, this allowance is good. Like, it's not great. It's good. I'm gonna say B. It's like right smack dab in the middle. Allowance gives you 100 gold. It's average, and that's where it should be. It's a little bit better than tax allowance. I guess I didn't add that here, but tax allowance is not necessarily a king spell. But if I did have tax allowance, it would also be on the B. I mean, it's only 5 gold different than allowance, right? Tax allowance gives you that 100 gold, protects you from the aggressive 11s. If there's other king spells you can't use, it's there. It's like it's just straight par. There's nothing else to it. It's just 100 gold. Just 100 gold. Battle Scars. All right, Battle Scars and Divine should be next to each other. Divine gives you is it 6? I think it's 6 Battle Scars instantly. Right, I think it gives you 6 Battle Scars instantly. Might be 4, but it gives you a certain amount of Battle Scars. I just feel like Battle Scars has to be an A, but I feel like if Battle Scars is A, Divine, they're just so similar. I'm gonna put them in A together. Battle Scars gives you the HP and it gives you the attack speed in a smaller portion. Divine gives you the HP and 2400 and the large amount of attack speed. All right, I looked it up because I'm stupid. So Battle Scars gives 400 health per wave to the fighter that has taken the most damage, and it permanently gains 400 health and 3.5% attack speed. Divine, because they've nerfed it, because they've nerfed Divine, it is only 2,000 health and 17% attack speed. So it would be 5x. It's only 5x now on the health, and 4.5, right? 4.5% on the attack speed. So honestly, I'm dropping Divine to B. Because once again, Divine only really works on certain units, right? You have like your God Sovs, your God Divine Azirias, your Divine Dread Knights. Is it amazing? Absolutely. But Battle Scars just has that long-term effect, right? Battle Scars has that long-term effect, and it takes what, 4 to 5 waves. So if the game goes past 14, past 15, you've already got more from Battle Scars than you would Divine. Divine, as like Allowance, is just going to save your butt in that like 11 to 14, 11 to 13. So I'm doing the 2-for-1 here. I think Battle Scars is better than Divine because they nerfed Divine so much. Counterattack. 55 Mythium every time you leak. Also 55 Mythium immediately. So if you leak, it's already more Mythium than All Out Assault. You know what? Bam, bam. See, told you I was going to change some stuff. All Out Assault sucks. Not that it doesn't have games you'll use it, right? But once again, it's all in. Counterattack, 55 Mythium, and if you leak, you're good. Another just like Allowance, it's sort of like, I'd say this one is subpar. Like it's not that great. I guess it'd be above par if we're talking golf, but that's besides the point. But yeah, 55 Mythium. It's not really great to leak after wave 10, right? Maybe on 11. It's fine to leak on 11. But after that, you just give up so much gold. Unless it's like a god counterattack, god fiesta, it's really not worth it, right? That's why I'm going to go C for counterattack, right? It's okay. It has its moments, right? Both of these are just aggressive. The aggressives just depend on the game. Battle Scars, Divine, these can be used in any game, either to defend or to keep your lead, right? Creditor. Creditor, gain 50% of your spare gold at the end of the build phase on waves 11 to 13. You can save up to a maximum of 170 gold per wave, which means 85 times 3, which is 255 gold. So you can get, what, 255 gold. I think everything's going in B today, guys. I think Creditor is good. If you get sent 10, it's awesome, right? You can just Creditor your way. They're probably going to set you up for a wave 12. So if you do take Creditor, watch out for that wave 12, just like Venture. Just like Venture. Where's Venture at? Damn. Venture and Creditor, once again. They could be A, right? They could be A. And the reason I think they could be A is because they can give you a massive advantage, right? If you take the risk for a Venture or a Creditor and somebody decides to starve you, like they skip 10, right? They don't send you 10, and they're like, oh, Doofus and Hopsky can never Creditor, they can never Venture. Let's just keep starving them. And we Creditor wave 11. We Creditor wave 12, right? And then we hold the 13. They're like, dude, how did they hold? Because they Creditor, right? Or they go for a really long starve all the way to 14. Bro, how did they just jump on the power score? I've talked myself into it. I think because there is so much advantage that can be had, even from being behind, it lets you come back. Once again, allows you to continue the lead. I think I'm going to put those in A. Venture is, 105 gold, right? Pay up to 105 gold and receive 3x that amount. So maximum 210 gold gained. So you can gain 210 gold, or you can gain 255. Creditor's probably a little bit better, right? If there was like an in-between, I would probably put Creditor there. I don't know if I will have any S tiers, right? I just feel like every game is so important that it just depends. Dark Ritual damages your king by 20% of current health. Current health. This means if your king's already at 10%, 20% of that is 2%, right? So this is why, like, if you live on 10, if you're in big trouble and you live, Dark Ritual is free gold, right? And it's 145 gold. So I'm gonna put it in B. I actually Dark Rid a lot more than most people. I was watching Toho play today, and his teammate Dark Ridded, and Toho was like, oh, no, I can't Dark Rid. I think if you're not under any pressure, it's fine. Like, that 145 gold is tasty. Now, is there some risk losing king HP? Absolutely. But I mean, it being 145 gold and getting quite a few buffs recently, I think it's decent. I think it is actually quite decent, to be honest. I'm gonna have it right there in the B, where pretty much every spell belongs. Embargo. You cannot hire mercenaries or upgrade the king until after wave 12 spawns. Then 80 gold, 80 mythium. It's either C or B, right? It's either C or B. Once again, I guess this can be used not necessarily aggressively, right? If all the other spells are just, like if the other spell is AoE and counterattack, like you're getting more mythium, right? You're getting gold. And if you're in no danger 11 and 12, then I guess this could be better. You know what? I'm going to put it at B. I'm going to put it at B. I wonder if there's a metric on Legion that actually has your king spells and like your win rate with them. That'd be awesome. That'd be something to look into. But yeah, I think it can be used for the aggressive 13, aggressive 14. But it is dependent on you really not being in trouble on 11 and 12. And it has the risk of those big shifts, right? If people have the balls, the big shift on 12, egg on 11, right? Because you can't send them. You cannot send, right? You can't send on 11. You can't send on 12. You can send on 11 after, right? You can send on 11 during 10, right? Yeah, mercenaries hired after / on wave 11 will be refunded, right? So if they're hired before wave 11 hits, you can still send like a dino or something, and that's sort of like the gamesmanship. But yeah, 11 to 12 you can't actually send. So I think it's average for the 80 myth, 80 gold. I think it's average B. Can be used properly. I'm really starting to think giant snail is it, man. I don't want to be like biased, but me and Hopsky, let's be honest, me and Hopsky play a lot of like income king games. Me and Hopsky have been playing a lot lately, and we play a lot of just income king, right? Income king, auto king, auto king, auto king. Then people start to save, right? They start to save on you guys like wave 10, wave 11. They want to go for something long. Well, if you're just giant snailing them, it's just so strong, right? What is giant snail? Your future snails are replaced by giant snails that have 260 bonus health and 11 bonus damage. Now, if we compare that to giants, just regular snails, let me have the comparative here. So 260 health, 11 bonus damage. Snails have 290 HP, so it's almost double. And they do 12 DPS. So pretty much you're having two snails. So when you send 160 mythium, you're really sending about 320, right? If you're gonna income. I'm starting to really think that is tasty, right? Once you're playing those starvers, sending full snails, full giant snails on 11, full giant snails on 12, 13, you can farm some shutdowns, you know, really catch people off guard. I'm really starting to fall in love with giant snail. All right, Glacial Touch. I have no idea on this one. Gives a fighter a chilling attack that slows movement speed by 90% for 3 seconds. If the target dies wind chilled, it explodes, dealing 45 pure damage in a small area. Another one just like Divine that has been nerfed so many times, right? So actually I kind of like it there right next to it, Divine, right? They've both been nerfed. They were super overpowered. They were super strong. Now they're about average. The reasons I love Glacial is number one, Wave 13 Aziria now can tank an even split, right? She can now tank an even split because if she has 3 on her, she could die. But with the Glacial, slows one of them down. Wave 20, it's incredible. Wave 20 Glacial is a cheat. If you do ever get to the Wave 20 boss, the slow effect is incredible, right? Glacial is also great for king races, right? If it's a close king race and you get one tag off of your Glacial, your unit will be going at the speed of light. Well, the opposite of speed of light. It's going the speed of a giant snail, right? It's going the speed of a giant snail. And it just goes so slow, man. In addition, right, Glacial, as I said, does 45 damage in a small area, right? It explodes. This is great for AoE waves. If you're really bad on wave 12, you're really bad on wave 16, Glacial pretty much fully saves your ass. Like for me, once I see Glacial, I'm like, can't send wave 12, can't send wave 16 in about 90% of games. I like it at B right now. I think it's a B tier. It's okay. Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel gives a fighter a buff that brings it back to life after it dies. It will revive with up to 1500 HP. I don't know. I really don't like this this spell anymore. I think I liked it before. I'd use it on like a Butcher Sov or a Butcher Doppel. Phoenix and Poda are gonna be the best. Right? I think Phoenix and Poda, Guardian Angel is probably worth where it might be B worthy. But I think when I first started playing, like if you put it on a doppelganger, you put it on an Avenger, it's going to die almost instantly anyhow. At least per the games I've played with it. To where like GA is only really good on like 11 or 12. If it's like a doppel or if it's a Sovereign, Avenger. I just don't believe it anymore. The 1500 health is it's just not enough for me. Right? They're gonna get attacked almost instantly because they have the lowest health pool compared to the other units they're next to. Now do I think it's really good for a Phoenix? Right? If you have that pro tanking Phoenix and it just barely dies, you're okay. Or if your Phoenix is like super low HP and it came back with Guardian Angel and now it's just attacking everything as your split's breaking down, it can be amazing. Just like Poda, you can risk 13 now, right? And if it dies, oh well, it's got GA. If it doesn't die, you still have GA for when it dies after pro tanking. This would be like a C+. I don't use it enough. I simply don't use it enough. That's all there's to say about it. GA, C. Hero. Now, a lot of people are putting Hero at S tier, and they're probably right. Gives a fighter an aura that buffs the damage and defense. I'll be totally honest. Let me finish this. Gives a fighter an aura that buffs the damage and defense of adjacently built units by 5%. I did not know that it said damage for probably a year and a couple of months of playing. I think I learned like 3 months ago. So if I start in October, yeah, about a year and a half, I did not know that Hero gives damage too. So like I'd make fun of people. I'd be like, why is that Leviathan having Hero, right? Why is that Levi Hades have Hero on it? And then people are like, well, it gives damage. So I'm a believer, right? Hero gates, any crazy vamp stuff, right? If you have like Hero Doppel with Butcher, Hero Sov with Butcher, or sorry, Hero Sovereign with Butcher, Dread Knight now, anything Ocean Templared, anything White Maned. I mean, there's just so much. Like the value is just spectacular. 5% damage and defense is crazy. I hope it never gets nerfed. It's just White Mane Hero, Ocean Templar Hero. The damage reduction is crazy. You can do Chieftain Cheese, right? You can do Chieftain Cheese and use Hero on the back unit, and then you have like a Chieftain Green Devil, Chieftain Yazora with the Hero, a Chieftain Haven with the Hero. It's just amazing. I do like Hero. Investment. Right there on B. 33 income, right? Investment is, yep, plus 33 income. I don't think there's a lot to say about investment. It's a long play, right? It's the long play. You need to not be in any pressure. There needs to not be any sexy spells. You know, there's no Glacial, there's no Battle Scars, there's no Hero. It's kind of like, I don't think I'm in any danger for a while. Maybe you've got Castle, right? I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, Castle investment. Or if your Cartel investment, also acceptable, right? You're just trying to get rid of the entirety of the lost income from Cartel. You're just trying to boop, give me my 33 income back, right? So I think it's okay. I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the worst. I think it's all right. Lizard Army. Summons lizards to attack your lane opponent. 1x, 1 lizard on 11, 2 on 12, 3 on 13. Also 50 Mythium. Okay, it's either C or B. When I thought about it for a second, I was going to go C. But now that I think about it, it might be B. Because you get 50 Mythium, which is equatable to counterattack. But then you also get the additional lizards. Can it be like B minus? Yeah, I think it's B minus. It really only works if you're going for an aggressive 11, 12, 13. Sort of like All Out Assault, right? Sort of, right? Because All Out Assault's really risky. This one doesn't have any downside where you're losing income. It can feed your opponent just the littlest bit, right? If you're going 13, you're at least going to feed your opponent the 3 lizards. But when both of you and your teammate go Lizard Army 12, 13, you're pretty much gaining what, 130, 170 Mythium? Yeah, 170, right? So if you guys are both sending together on 12 or 13, you get the lizards and you get that extra 50 Mythium. So what was maybe a 360 send is now on wave 12 from 360 it goes to you can only add 120. So 480, right? 360 versus 480 is massive, right? That's a big difference. But it has to be used properly. Downside, let's say somebody income kings into you, right? And where you normally want to be like, oh shoot, let's send on 14 now. Well, if you send on wave 14, you lose out on your lizards, right? So yes, you get to go that additional wave, but now you're not going to get that 120 Mythium, right? We're not going to get those 3 lizards sent on 14. Bit of a downside. Loan is definitely C. Not that I don't use it a lot, right? Not that I don't use it from time to time. Loan is 200 gold minus 33 income, right? Another cartel fear, right? Another cartel fear. You take loan and your cartel, you've just lost 60 plus income, right? You lose 50 plus income with All Out Assault. You lose 60 plus income with loan. You better hope they're sending on 11, right? You better hope they're sending on 11. And that's the fear with loan, right? Wave 10, you're really bad 11. There's PTA or Embargo, right? That's risky, right? And you're scared of 11, right? You've been starved, you're weak. You take loan, gambling, crossing your fingers that they're going to send you a big 11. They don't send. Now you're losing 33 income every wave. And did you income king? Oh my goodness. You income kinged and you loaned, and now they're going to starve you? I mean, the amount of gold you're losing is crazy, right? So it's definitely a risk. Now, can it be used really nicely, right? Like somebody sends you on wave 10 and there's no PTA, there's no giant snail, there's no counterattack, there's nothing aggressive, right? But you really want to send on 12. You got to send on 10. You take loan, you push those 4 extra workers. You take loan and just push, worker, and just go for that big 12, right? You're pretty much sui 12ing with loan. So it can have its advantages, right? Does that mean PTA is C or? I mean, we're talking about aggressive stuff, right? I think we just go with the aggressive stuff right now. It's just 70 Mythium, right? It's just 70 Mythium. I think I'm just gonna go C. Like, I really just don't feel like these, and maybe Toho's in my head because we were talking before this about the spells. The aggressive spells are just, they only work in an aggressive game, right? Like in a non-aggressive game where everybody's income kinging, or you're not under any pressure, you know? How useful is Overwork, right? Nobody's gonna leak on 11. You don't want to send, like, you're just gonna keep incoming. PTA, yeah, it's 70 Mythium, right? it's okay, right? It's not that great, both of them. Like, once again, they have their times when you're playing aggressive, right? But if it's non-aggressive game, 70 Mythium doesn't really help you, right? Overwork, if you don't have like 14 plus workers, doesn't really help you unless you pro league, right? Maybe if you pro league with like 12 workers and you make sure to leak, maybe your Fiesta. A Fiesta overwork on 11 can be acceptable. But both of these, it's so game focused, right? It depends on the game. Which I mean most of these do, but I think that's why the best ones are like where the game doesn't matter as much, right? You could take hero every game, right? You could take giant snail every game, right? You could take divine every game. So I mean, maybe like you know what I'm saying? It's like certain games, it's gonna be better if you can take the spell every time. Things like that. Magician. I just don't use magician that much anymore. And I think this is exactly what I'm saying with the aggressive ones, where like magician and vamp are similar. So let's just pull out magician and vamp right now. And this is going to be crazy because this is going to go against what I was thinking earlier. I think there's way more builds that vamp is applicable in any game than magician. Magician is you want it with like steeds, right? Magician steeds. I guess if you had like an Adam's built up, you've already been preparing for this magician circle. You've got a star caller. But I feel like magician, you still need to have what, 7, right? You still need to have like 7 magician units. It's just few games that I really think you're gonna use it, right? A lot fewer than I used to. Like, I guess I've heard that like you see magician, you lock in disciple, right? Or you lock in steeds or something like that. But having to play your game around a legion spell, unless it's like pawn shop, right? I'll get to that in a second. Unless it's like pawn shop, I just don't see the need for it. Now vamp. Vamp, I feel like there's way more vamp opportunities. There's way more vamp units. You've got your nightmares, your phoenixes, your bunks, uh, your doppels, your gates can even do vamp. Your dread knights can still do vamp, right? There's so many units that vamp can be used, even crappy units, right? Let's see if a white main circle with vamp. At least there's something, right? They're at least getting some healing. It's not that terrible. And just so you guys know, I didn't tell you with magician. Magician gives a fighter an aura that buffs the mana regen of any units on this aura, which is up to 7, by 0.57 per second. 0.57 per second, which is for like a Hades, it's not really useful, right? But for a low mana unit, it could be. That's why if you have like the steeds or if you have disciples, then yeah, it does make sense. And vamp is going to be gives a fighter an aura that grants 24% lifesteal and ability vamp to adjacently built units on a given aura. I just like the vamp a lot better than magician. I think it has greater uses. Pawn shop, I'm gonna go A. Right, I almost want to go S. Let me think about this. You can now sell fighters for a 90% refund for the rest of the game. So it's just like a Grarl, but for all your units. Also, 75 gold. Alright, so comparatively, we've got 100 gold, 145 gold, 200 gold minus 33 income. Yeah, I like it at A. I like it at A. I mean, it's pawn shop is nasty, right? Pawn shop, number 1, some of the high level players will actually play chaos. They will play chaos if they see pawn shop. I've heard this in high elo. Now, I'm not sure how often it happens, but I have heard about it. I've done it a couple of times. When they see pawn shop as the king spell, bam, they take chaos. The reason being, right? Reason being is you take chaos, you play a fine wave 10, then pawn shop comes up, and you can just sell any unit for like a god unit, right? You can sell any unit for a god unit that pops up in your chaos roll, which is just infuriating, right? So you've got those games where you're playing chaos people. You're saying, let's send wave 17. Let's send wave 17. They have absolutely no pierce. They have no fortified. Bam, wave 17 comes. They chaos roll Mudman, right? Because of Pawn Shop, they can sell half their board for like 10 hardened golems. I mean, that's what's going to happen with Chaos, but it would be like 2 or 3 hardened golems, right? No, we're talking their whole board now with Pawn Shop because they're only losing 10%, right? They're only losing 10%. They know this end's coming 17. I mean, it can be tasty. Pawn Shop can be very tasty. It can also help you just get a big unit on 11. It can save your ass on 11. You're like, oh snap, something big's coming on 11. Damn, sell for a Hades. Damn, sell for an Azeria. Damn, sell for a Hellgate. Right? There's just so much protection. Or, as I said with the Hardens, right? Let's imagine you have the Mudmen, you have the Hardens. You harden, you guess wrong. Next wave, another Harden. Right? And yeah, you lost whatever 10% of 140, 10% of what 425? 405. 405, right? So 40 gold, 41 gold, or 14 gold, right? Pretty minimal when you think of the harden ability, right? Pawn Shop, really strong. All right, Protector. I don't think Protector is that good. Let me just say that right off the bat. But I am a fan of Protector because I love Chieftain Cheese. I love Gates. I love the pro tanking Azerias, right? It's just more fun. What is Protector? It gives the fighter 700 HP and an aura that buffs the health regeneration of all allies in a large area by 0.8% missing health until the fighter dies, right? I love Protector, right? There's just so many times it can be used on Azerias. It can be used with Ocean Templar Gates. It can be used with Chieftain Cheese, with Canopies, right? There's a lot of things it can be used with just a crappy build. Right? It can be used with a crappy build. You throw it on a Daphne at the top of your lane, and all of your units, if you have a lot of them, are getting regen. Right? It's okay, right? If you have an average build, it can help, right? I think it's. I mean, I'm saying it's average, but I still think it's really good. I think the ability of it to cover your mate as well, the ability to cover, right? We haven't really talked about coverage, but the ability to cover almost matches that of hero, right? It's not your damage, it's not your defenses, but it's your health, right? And it's just regenning health, regenning health. So I do feel like Protector is one of the best. I do, because you could use that on 11 to save your ass, right? To save your ass, you're receiving a big 11, or just to continue progressing you into the game. Now you have a protected Dread Knight, right? You have a protected Sovereign, right? There's just a lot of applicable situations. So, and because I'm talking about health, I'm gonna go for Titan right now. Titan gives a fighter 1300 health, correct? 1350 health. Give a fighter 1350 HP. And I mean, it's just like GA. Titan is just like GA. I just don't like it. I simply don't like Titan that much. Like Titan and Azeria by the higher elo, they seem to like it. They probably have it a little higher. I don't. I just 1350 HP to me, that just has no long-term progression in the game. It could be really useful in like 11 to 13. It has to be placed on a god unit for it to have any long-term usage in the game, right? You're putting on a Phoenix, you're putting on a Azeria, on a godly unit, you know, like a God Sov, God Doppel, God Dread Knight. I just don't feel like the long-term application is there. I feel like it could help on 11, could help on 12, could help on 13, but it's only 1350 HP. I just don't like it that much, right? I just simply don't like it. Sorry. Pulverizer. I feel like Pulverizer and Glacial are too similar. As much as I want to put it on A, I don't think I can. Pulverizer gives a fighter 4% attack speed and a 34% chance to stun its target for 2 seconds. 0.32 bosses. 17% chance to stun for ranged. once again, this is great for God units, right? However, not only God units, right? This can also be put on like a ranger. Could be put on a Sky Queen. Could be put on a slow unit. Could be put on a chieftain. Like the stun effect is just so critical. I've actually lost a lot of games recently to Dread Knights that have Pulverizer on them. Dread Knights on Pulverizer, they just keep spawning clones. Now, all the clones don't get to do the Pulverizer, but there's so many clones that the Dread Knight never gets targeted, and the Dread Knight keeps stunning the unit that might have a chance of hitting it, and it just lives forever. Same thing with like a God Doppel, right? Once a God Doppel has Pulv, and it just starts scaling, and it's doing 300 damage and 200 HP heal a second with the vamp, plus the stun. I mean, they're unstoppable. They're simply unstoppable. So I do like Pulv. I don't think Pulv is quite as strong as Glacial Wave 20. I know I referenced Wave 20. But it's still up there. It definitely is still up there. So I really like it to be the safety zone. Sacrifice. Sacrifice, refund a fighter for full value and 85 gold. You guessed it. It's also going in B. Yeah, I'm also gonna put it in B here. It's good, and it has its times. But you have to guess correctly, right? You have to guess correctly with sack, because what you don't want to do is sack a unit and then them still send that wave that you were scared of. Let me give a situation. So let's say wave. I've got it. Wave 13, you have an Azeria. You have Sacrifice. You're really, really expecting that 14 cent, right? You're really expecting that 14 cent. You full sack your Azeria for a Doomsday. Ha! I gotcha. For some weird, unexpected reason, they don't send 14. Now they're going 15, and the Azeria you just had is gone. Uh-oh. So Sacrifice is really important. You got to guess right. Right? Sacrifice has that sort of that guess level to it. That's why I don't think it can be in the A tier. I think you could easily have an A or S tier. I think a lot of people love Sac. Because it gives you the 85 gold, just similar to Allowance, similar to Pawn Shop. It doesn't take any money, right? It doesn't take that 10%. But you have to guess the right unit, right? And in a game that's so strategical like chess, you can just lose the game if you sacrifice the wrong unit. Or if you're a silly goose, which I've been one. This is a long time ago. I just started playing. I had a pack rat, right? Not a looter, a pack rat, 75 gold unit. And I thought I was selling it. I just wanted to sell it. I did not want to sacrifice it. But they're so close to each other, and I was clicking it really fast, and I sacrificed the pack rat. So my big, strong, sacrifice a Hellgate, sacrifice an Azeria, sacrifice a full Trinity was sacked for a pack rat. So you got to be careful about it too. I don't, honestly, I would definitely put this in B because of the placement. They have it right next to the cell, right? They have it right next to the stacks on cats, right? On the Nikomata, the stack is right next to it, so you're like hitting the stacks. Hit it too many times, you're gonna hit the sack. So you got to be really careful about that. So when you're a doofus like me, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Savior, also B. Heals your king by 10% plus 15% of missing health and 90 gold. So it's got close to the 100 gold, close to the 85, a little bit less than the 145 at 90, but it heals your king. It's a basic defensive spell. Or it's just a nothingness, right? Like I've had a lot of games recently where the spell sucked. We had 100% king plus some king ups. Me and my buddy just took Savior, right? Could have just taken tax allowance. We just took Savior just because, right? Just full build. Doesn't do you any good when your king's already at 100%. But there's just no other reason to use it. Savior is the opposite of Dark Writ, right? Instead of your King HP already being really low when you're behind in a pre-10, it saves your ass, right? Then instead of getting a lot of gold, you get some gold and health, right? So once again, you're down to 10%. Now you're back up to like 50% thanks to Savior. Can be very, very useful, right? Get you back in the game. So it's useful for, I'd say either way. More so defensive, right? More so defensive. You're usually not going to take Savior in most games just because, like, there's no other spell to use. There's probably going to be another spell to use. Now, I had a situation recently where it was like the only option. I was like, we'll just take Savior, right? But I think it's average. It's an average spell. Sorcerer, you guessed it. It's still B. It's still B. Increases a fighter's ability damage by 57.5%. Toho actually created like this amazing post recently. It was like, what's your favorite sorcerer unit? I think I can pull that up on my Instagram really quickly. All right, I've got it on. So he's got Sorcerer Trinity Archer, Arc of Justice, Banana Haven, Aziria, Starcaller. There's other ones he could have used, but those are the main ones. And just as I say that, I think it's good to note that you have to have the right unit, right? You have to have the right unit for it to work. But I don't think it's as bad as Magician, where like it has to be the right unit. I think there's still enough units, right? You could use Aquas. Yeah, Aquas, you've got your Havens, as I said, the Archers. There are quite a few units in the game that have ability damage. So it can work, right? It can work. It can also work for like a God Haven. That was probably my favorite sorcerer I've ever done. Was like a big Haven with the Chieftain cheeses. It had the vamp on it, right? It had a butcher. Had butcher, chieftains, and now it has Sork, so it's doing way more damage. Honestly, I want to play with that right now. Like I want to do a Sork monster Banana Haven with vamp. Trinity Archer I think is the best right now. I think Trinity Archer is the best Sork unit in the game. Me and Toho lost recently, right? I think a couple of weeks ago, to a Sorked Levi Trinity Archer. Right? It's just so powerful. I mean, it's got the ability damage buff, and then it's got just like pure damage buff from the Levi's. It was just too much, right? So I think Sork is average, right? Just like maybe above average, right? Just like Vamp, I think it applies to enough units, right? Enough units, even if they're average, right? If you're doing the white mains, if you're doing like disciples or something with Vamp, right? Just like a Starcaller that doesn't have steeds, it's good enough, right? It gives you enough damage. It could work, right? It could work. Villain gives a fighter damage amplifying attacks, increasing damage taken from all sources by 26%, 13% for ranged, half against bosses. I don't like villain. I'm sure it's really good. I just don't use it enough, right? I don't use it enough for it to be good in my opinion. There's just not enough single target waves for me to feel that it's that good. So I'm gonna put it at C. It probably should be B. I just don't want to put it at B. Increasing damage taken from all sources by 26%. So you'll have your games where you have like a doppelganger, a sovereign, and Aziria. All these like nice, big, strong units with a villain. But once again, it only applies to that one unit, right? It only applies to that one unit. It's not slowing it. It just increases the damage it takes a little bit, right? And with bosses, half against bosses. So I mean, yeah, on wave 20 it adds up. On wave 15 it adds up. But I feel like there's so many other waves where it's just not enough. I just don't think the damage is enough, personally. Right? There's too many waves. Right? I guess wave 13. Wave 13, it's useful. You've only got 6 creeps. 11, 12, no. 14, no. 15, There's still a lot of creeps with the boss, but there's a boss. So yeah. 16, definitely not. 17, definitely not. 18, yeah, I guess. 19, definitely no. And 20, yeah. For me, that's below average, right? There's just not enough waves for me to where that makes sense. I just don't like villain. I don't like it. It's very cool, and I really like the sound it makes when you put it on. But in terms of actually being useful in the game, not for me. Not a big fan. So, we are all done. Let's just make sure that we have no mistakes. Hero, undeniably the best, right? Hero's undeniably the best. Sometimes it's better to take hero than it is to take venture, creditor, things like that. Genuinely. Hero's better. I know that sounds crazy. You get sent on 10, you're in no trouble on 11, no trouble on 12. But if you have hero gates, if you have hero ocean dread knight, if you have hero god doppel with butcher, it's worth. It is genuinely worth. Battle scars were good. Creditor, venture, giant snail, pawn shop protector. I feel like these three should be A, dude. I feel like those should be A. I think we're gonna make the swap. I think we're making the swap. And after consideration, I'm gonna put these are game changers. I think Divine is definitely not as good as Battle Scars, but it still will save your ass on those 11, 12, 13s. And if that unit never dies, like I've had a Sakura that never died the whole game with Divine. It's incredible, right? And it looks cool. Pulv has the stun lock. Glacial has the stun lock plus the AoE. Yeah, we're gonna put them at A. We're gonna put them at A. I'm not gonna move Vamp up, but I want Vamp at the front. Well, Sorcerer right here. No. Vamp, Sorcerer, B is really good, but not for me at A level. Allowance is Dark Writ is honestly better than I think most people think. Embargo has its times. Invest, Lizard, Sack should also be up there, at least at the front of the bees. Savior. Now we get into the crappies. We've got counterattack. I do like counterattack, but you just don't want to leak. You just don't want to leak past 11, right? Even if you're Fiesta, it's almost never going to be advantageous to you to leak after the first couple of waves, right? You should be ahead and never need to leak again. So counterattack value, GA, nah. Titan, Lone. I do like Lone, but once again, not enough to put in B. Overwork, Magician, Villain, All Out Assault, just the negative. It's just doesn't come close. Doesn't come close to the 100 Mythium, minus 20 income. Too long term. Too long term. If you don't win or do monster size damage on 11 or 12, you might have lost the game just by taking A away. But those were my tier lists for the Legion spells, the King spells. I hope you guys have enjoyed me rambling on. I will drop the link if you guys want to create your own tier list. I did create this. I updated it with the new King spells that have been added in the last year or so months. And hope you guys enjoy this, and I will see you in the next video.